So I'll just try to give brief about myself and then we'll get started. I'm Rajendra Ongole. I'm a Microsoft Data Platform MVP and one of the organizers for Tech community. So I just want to adopt this particular time, half an hour time, with which I have given a session at Microsoft Reactor on a topic data exploration with PySpark in Microsoft Fabric. So it's a very interesting. So what are the ways we will try to explore the data if you are working with a very big data part, and how this Microsoft Fabric will be get support with different tools and applications. And coming to the content, I have prepared the environment, how we are going to set the environment and what are the ways to explore the data, and mainly focusing us on Spark computation engines in Microsoft Fabric and the ways to get load and explore the data in Microsoft Fabric by using PySpark language. So I'll just try to showcase to you the architecture. Coming to this is the latest one from Microsoft Fabric architecture. So you can maybe, if there is a competency in the data factory part or data engineering, data science, data warehouse, and so on, we can start injecting the data and we can load it into the one lake storage content, and from there we can utilize the data for different ways, like by using the advanced AI part or advanced machine learning. You want to build it with the predictions data, or maybe on the top of it, if you are working on the constructed or tabular model of the data to visualize it to someone, we will use the Power BI desktop applications too. And one more thing, if you're observing, and this data where it will be get stored, there will be a difference between a one lake and a lake houses. We will create lake house for each, and I mean, like, it should be one, and the lake houses should be for each and every workspaces we can get it created. So, and if you're observing the languages which will be get supported for data factory, it's just as a similar experience as like pipelines. We will Azure data factory part. And in that data engineering, we have the lot of languages it was getting supported, like PySpark, Python, a dedicated Python language. And even we can try to make use of R and Scala languages too. So let me showcase the environment as well, how it looks like to you. And the data warehouse. So if you want to build up the SCD type 2, slowly changing dimensions to for maintain the historical as well as the current data on the top of it. The tabular information, it will be get stored in one lake, and also in the top of it for optimizations and so on, we will use transactional SQL language. And next week, I'm going to have a session on real-time intelligence as Microsoft Reactor, and there I'm going to give a very complete overview about how this real-time intelligence will work. So here, if you're observing, if you're working on the real-time stats, like example IoT sensors, or maybe stock market related trend like up or down DMA moving averages, we are going to use a language, KQL language, Kusto query language, and so on. Fine. So I want to get import, assume that you want to import the data from an external sources, which is not listed. So in such a scenario, we have an option to extract the data via shortcuts too. Like, there is an option to get import the data via shortcuts without replicating or else without reloading the informations into the that particular Microsoft Fabric environment. We will use the shortcut approach. Like, maybe if my source is an Amazon S3 bucket or Google Cloud Systems, we can import it via shortcut approaches as well. And recently, as per the current architecture from Microsoft Fabric, if you're observing the left-hand side, mirroring concept has been get added. So what is this mirroring in the sense? Without replicating, without loading or else storing the content in the Fabric, we can do the existing functionality, existing environment itself, a mirror, replicating the data. Currently, few of the sources it is supporting on the mirroring part, Azure SQL database and data bricks and Azure Snowflake schemas will be get added in the mirroring part. Few more going to come. So where we can, without replicating, without loading the information to the Fabric, we can directly connect and we can utilize the all the tools and functionalities which has been listed at the top, like by using data factory or data engineering and so on. Fine. I'll just try to showcase to you the one of the architecture which is most of the organizations are trying to adopt here, middle lane architecture. So here, in a simple way, I will just try to showcase to you. Suppose if your data is resides on different ways or else at different places like files. So systems are few of the files are available, and some of the databases you want to get it connected, and maybe some live streaming data by using real-time analytics you want to get connected. So we will try to use a different ways to import the data. We will get connect via pipelines, and even we can use, as I said, the shortcuts without importing. And all the information, the raw data will be get stored in one lake. And the first layer, the raw layer, we are going to call it as a bronze layer. Fine. On the top of this bronze layer, you can try to utilize it for the advanced tools or else advanced functionalities. Maybe I want to utilize it for some more experimentations part. I can write the notebooks and I can define the pipelines and I can do the further analysis on the top of it, further predictions and so on. That is the raw layer part. And coming to the next layer, that is the processed information, which I want to get it stored in another layer named called a silver. Like maybe you are just adjusting some of the column headers and the right columns you have to maintain, and you want to get it loaded into the next layer, that is a silver layer. There also, we will try to utilize the languages like a notebooks, Spark, or even the data flows, and you can also utilize this data pipelines as well. Fine. And the next layer, we are calling it as a gold layer, where the data will be in the completely structured. And from there, we can try to utilize it for different prospect of our businesses. Like example, I want to get it to visualize by loading that particular structured information to the visuals. I can use Power BI is the front end tool to show the analysis to the customer. And also it will be get supported with an SQL analytics endpoint, where you can do the customizations on the queries and we can further enhance the particular table or else a particular data set on the rest of this visualization part. And the data for the faster retrieval, it will be get stored in the form of direct lake. We are familiar, whoever working on the Power BI part, like a import storage, which will be get loaded into Power BI, and direct query mechanism, which will be directly connecting to your backend database to the Power BI application. But here we are calling it as a direct lake. The meaning here, we are trying to get connected in the cloud environment and directly getting transfer the data very quick to your Power BI engine. So the faster we feel it as a compared to the data refreshes part, we feel it as a very quick and the visual representation as well as the calculations. So mostly we are, I mean, trying to adopt this architecture. So whoever working on the Microsoft Fabric part, so Medallion architecture. So where this is the set of tools and functionalities which we are going to utilize for development. Fine. Let me showcase to you practical. I have already opened it. So for this, first of all, we need to create a lakehouse. So, and before that, we need to have a dedicated workspaces. So assume that you have created a dedicated workspaces named POP WS. This is the fabric content. And also maybe if you want to get it try on your own, just try to connect, okay, Microsoft with your business email ID, like on Microsoft for trial accounts, and it will be get active for 60 days. Maybe if you want to get a try and maybe whether it is going to be helpful for your business or not, just try with the trial accounts. So I have created one of the lake house. Let me showcase to you that for my previous one. Fine. Please observe here, whenever if we can get created a lake house, two things will get added. So what is this lake house actually? So as I said, for each and every workspace, we can create a lakehouse to extract the data, whether it is a structured or unstructured, whatever the analysis part, we can try to import it. Once the lakehouse explorer will be get created, you can see on the left hand side with the two folders, tables and F files. Tables, that's information will be get stored in the form of a structured, and the files, if you're observing the files folder, the information will be something like semi-structured or even the unstructured source systems also it will be get stored here. You can see one of the CSV file, which is a column comma delimiter, the data will be get visible to you. So these data sets or these tables, you want to get it cleansed and you want to move it in the form of a structured way. For a CSV format is as simple as easy. We can try to move it and try to represent the data in a structured. So if you're observing, this is one of the CSV files, sales customer. If you can directly connect to this, this is the representation, data representation with comma separator. But how we are going to maintain this in the form of a tabular view? So it's as simple as easy for the CSV format. If you're observing on the three horizontal tabs, our ellipse button here on the sales customer, just try to open it, load it in the form of a table. So we have to provide what is the delimiter and we have to provide that information and we have to get it loaded here. Let me showcase to you instead of using it as an existing table and I'm using a new table. So here the comma separator, let me rename it as an to table name. It's very easy to get it loaded from converting from an unstructured information to the table. And even the parquet file, JSON file extraction also, we can try to extract the information if it is a completely complex. In such a scenario, we have to use a different alternatives via using a notebook creation and writing a languages and so on. This is very simple activity. Fine. Assume that if you are very familiar and you are already working on notebooks, how you are getting navigated from Lakehouse to the notebooks. So on this home part itself, you can create a new notebook or already developed in some different tools like Anaconda's Python, and you want to get it imported into this fabric, we can easily import it. We can easily import it via import existing notebooks too. So how we are going to get import a new, I mean like already existing Python notebook. So it's on this workspace, if you're observing, we have an option name called import notebooks. So you can just try to import it from here. But I'll just try to showcase to you from this particular lake house. Let me showcase to you here by using an existing. Assume that I have written a notebook and it is available in one of the workspace, in a different workspace. I want to pull it without duplicating the existing. Okay, existing. I don't want to duplicate it into my new workspace. I want to reuse it. In such a scenario, we can reuse it by enabling this one lake catalog. It's just like one lake catalog is just like in OneDrive without any repetition of the data, without any data redundancy. We can try to get it import and we can perform the further data enhance, I mean like a modeling part or as a data ingestion level and the data experimentations part. I'm just trying to open one of the workbook. Orders data table. This is a similar experience how we will just try to observe on the left hand side. A lake house explorer, we can see it. On the right hand side, what are the languages that will be get supported? At the top, you will see by default language is a PySpark Python. And what are the different other languages that will be get supported? If we can try to open, these are the other languages that will be get supported on this environment, notebook environment. That is a Scala as a set, the PySpark by default, and Spark SQL, Spark R language, Python, and even the transaction SQL. We can write the statements and so on. Okay, fine. It's as simple as easy. And also, if you're observing, these are the lake houses. And if you can try to select the tables, the extracted tables, it will be visible to you here. It's loading. Visible to you. And as simple as easy, maybe I'll just try to showcase to you one example. Maybe I'll just try to drag and drop here. So it's trying to going to create a data frame and writing the statement. So see here, how many number of records based on this particular demo is my schema name city. And I want to use the by default language that is PySpark. So maybe if you are very familiar with other languages as per the team build, we can change it and we can utilize those languages too. But by default, this is. So let me execute it. And whenever if you start working on this Spark computations, just try to check. Okay, some of the computation functionalities we have to get created in the full. So by default, there should be some full definitions whenever if you can create in workspaces. That part also I'm going to showcase to you after executing this. And if you have any queries, please post it in the chat box related to this topic. See here, this is one of the tables. Cities table has been executed with 1,000 records. And here, these are the jobs which has been get displayed. And from here, I want to see the DAG data direct acyclic graph and how much time it has been succeeded and what is the flow. In such a scenario, you can navigate it by using the Spark jobs. We can see. Okay, let me showcase you few things. Resources. Here you can see the three horizontal ellipse button. So it will be get open a new web user interface. There you can see the DAG graphs, direct as a click graph, how the flow and the data will be get transferred and how much time and the job succeeded time and so on. Maybe if it is a taking huge time, we will see the backend jobs, how much time it has been taken to get it executed at each and every stages. So this is what I'm talking about. Stages. Okay. So the previous learning jobs as well as, I mean, we can easily find it out. Is there any failures or else is there any custom logs will be get available? Log information will be get able to share and we can download it as well by using the Spark web user interface. And one more thing, as I said, how we are going to get it compute if you are working with a very big data source system. So as I said, by default, some settings will be there for each and every pool creation. Let me showcase to you that. This is my workspace. On this workspace settings part, data engineering capabilities, Spark settings. Here, by default, there is a pool, starter pool with a medium node size, and the memory optimization is by default memory optimization with nodes from 1 to 10. Maybe I want to get it created on my own. In such a scenario, this is the by default starter pool. We can use a new pool creation and here we can get it configured as per our backend data jobs which will be get executed or else. Maybe if we want to get it executed with the parallel runs, we can get created a new pools as well. Let me showcase to you one simple demo Spark pool. This is by default memory optimized and here we can get it configured three approaches. The node size as per the data. So this is a small, medium or large. So by default, as I said, whenever if we can get created, medium it will be get it configured. And if your data set size is smaller, we can configure as per the node sizes too. And this is the auto scaling as per the amount of the data that is going to execute it. So by default, this is the configuration. Maybe we'll just try to enhance it as per the data availability. Let me use the default configurations and create it. Save. And one more thing. So by default, some of the libraries are will be executed. Maybe I want to execute some additional libraries. How we are going to add those libraries into the Fabric environment. Let me showcase you that as well. So see here, I'm enabling this particular workspace, new environment. I'm creating a new environment for this, giving the name as Spark demo. We can call this environment whenever if you're trying to execute or create a new notebooks. So see here, as this Spark computations by default size is for the Spark driver is 28 GB size. We can, we can increase the size also based on the complexities. And the Spark executed to the data executed to from the node executed to the worker node. And how we are going to get it import is some new resources, that's data storage part. So we can import the new libraries as well as the resource notebooks as well by using this resource option functionalities part. And if you want to get add any new or else a custom libraries, we can import it via this custom libraries functionalities too. Okay, fine. How we are going to call this Spark notebooks on your current engine, which has been executed. So if you can navigate back to my notebook here, currently the working environment is by default environment. I want to get it choose the environment which I have been just created. Let me showcase to you that. and then I will stop. And if you have any queries, right, just try to post it in the chat. Let me showcase to you that notebook. So see here, this is what I'm trying to convey. Spark demo. This is what I just configured with the latest Spark 3.5, and the computation engine is 1 to 14 nodes. We can configure it, the available environments as well. So from here, we can try to get it import. Either it is a new notebook or existing notebook. We can start executing our queries or else the cell code wise. And as I said, by default, this is supported with the PySpark. Maybe we can get it changed to other languages as too. Suppose, and if we want to get it executed with the multiple users, we can configure it with the concurrent users control as well. So here the functionality is there, new and high concurrency sessions. Maybe parallelly, I want to get it executed by some other user or else some other team member. I can configure with this concurrent user control too. So parallelly one person, instead of working with one person, multiple users also will get worked on the same notebook. Fine. And one more thing, I just try to showcase to you on this notebooks part, and then I will close. So how we are going to get it schedule these notebooks. So we have an option here by using the settings configurations. We can schedule it, and as per the frequencies like 15 minutes interval, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, hourly basis, and so on. 4 configurations it is supporting. And also if we want to get it reuse these current notebooks for another other users, we can also endorse it. We can promote it, and maybe the complete organization level, if you want to get it to use the notebook, we can make it as a certified and make it visible to other departments and other organization groups as well. Fine. This is still executing, and if you have any queries related to this topic, please post it and let me know. Yeah, I have a question in the chat. Sorry. Uh, can you please clarify the difference between a shortcut and mirror? So a shortcut, suppose if you're extracting the data via external sources system without importing into your fabric. In such a scenario, we can use a shortcut approach, and we can also utilize with something like an Azure, instead of, like a Google storage accounts and even the S3 buckets, Amazon S3 buckets, we can get it used, and the data will be get stored. And what about the mirroring? Mirroring is a new concept where a live replica of the data sources, that is an external sources like Azure SQL database or Cosmos DB, as I said, Snowflake databases, it will be get added sync. We will get the sync data, okay, without any lag or else there is a slowness. That is nothing but a mirroring. So mirroring is a new concept which has been recently added as per the architecture, and currently few source systems it is supported and few limitations are also is there. Hope I have answered to your query. James? Yeah, I'm stopping my recording.